2 weeks before our wedding, everything was supposed to be falling into place. The venue was set, invitation sent. My tux was tailored. Her dress had its final fitting. We had painstakingly gone over playlist, menu, vows, every detail. The only thing missing, apparently, was her. It started with silence. Friday night, she told me she was going to a girls' night with some old college friends. Fair enough. I figured she'd earned it after months of wedding planning stress. But when I texted her to check in around midnight, there was no reply. I didn't panic. Not yet. Saturday morning came and went. No answer. By Saturday evening, her phone went straight to voicemail. Her social media? Silent. Then Sunday morning, a mutual friend sent me a message with a screenshot from someone's Instagram story. It showed her, my fiancé, dancing at a club with her ex. His arm was around her waist, and her smile wasn't one of discomfort. It was the kind that said this wasn't an accident. My heart stopped, and then it dropped. I sat there staring at the photo, trying to breathe. This wasn't just cheating. This was ghosting. A deliberate act of silence, while she reconnected with a man she once told me had broken her beyond repair. The same man whose name she swore she never wanted to hear again. She didn't come home until Sunday night. No explanation, no apology. Just a casual, hey, like she'd gone out for groceries. I asked her about it, calmly at first. She claimed it was nothing, said I was overthinking, that she just needed space. Needed space. 2 weeks before our wedding, something inside me quietly shut off. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I didn't cry, not in front of her. Instead, I made a plan, a quiet one. That week, I called a venue and canceled the wedding behind her back. They understood. I explained just enough to get most of the deposit refunded. The florist, the caterer, the DJ, all canceled. I paid the cancellation fees out of my own savings. I even called a photographer and told him not to bother editing anything from our engagement shoot. I kept smiling when I saw her. I acted normal. She probably thought I was buying her excuses. She was wrong. The night before what was supposed to be our wedding, I left. I left her a letter. It wasn't dramatic, just honest. I wrote, "You told me you needed space, so I gave you the rest of your life. I hope your ex was worth it. The wedding is off. The venue knows. Everyone knows. You don't have to ghost me again. I'm already gone." Then I turned off my phone, packed my bags, and drove out to a cabin a friend let me in the mountains. I watched the sunrise alone on what would have been our wedding day, and for the first time in weeks, I felt free. Sometimes people show you who they are just in time, and when they do, don't make a scene. Just make an exit. Quietly, I stayed off the grid for a week. No calls, no texts, just mountain air, quiet mornings, and the slow process of peeling off the future. I thought I wanted like a heavy winter coat I no longer needed. When I finally turned my phone back on, I was half expecting an avalanche of messages from her. There were only 3. One from her. "Where are you? Can we talk?" One from her best friend, who never really liked me but somehow still had enough decency to write, "I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that." And one from my mother, "Proud of you for walking away. Love, always." That last one hit harder than the rest. Maybe because it reminded me I wasn't alone in this, even if it felt like it. I replied to my mom, left the other 2 unread. When I got back to the city, word had already spread. Some people whispered, others applauded. A few took sides. I didn't care. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. Done pretending. Done chasing closure. Done trying to understand a kind of person who could disappear into someone else's arms while still wearing a ring I gave her. I boxed up the wedding leftovers, the candles, the guest book, even the custom Mr. and Mrs. sign we thought was so cute at the time, and donated everything. The ring? I kept it for a while. I think I needed it as proof that it all really happened. Eventually, I sold it. Used some money to buy a one-way ticket to Greece. 3 months later, I was sipping ouzo by the sea, laughing with strangers who became friends. Finally remembered what it felt like to be whole again, without someone else holding the glue. She reached out once more, an email long and full of apologies. She said she made a mistake, that she missed me, that the wedding should still happen. I didn't reply. She made her choice, and I made mine, quietly, with dignity, and without ever looking back. Funny thing is, the day that was supposed to break me became the day I started living, and I don't regret a second of it. It's strange how pain can become a kind of compass, how betrayal, when you're ready to feel it fully, doesn't just wreck you, it reorients you. That email from her sat unread in my inbox for weeks. Sometimes I hovered over it, thinking maybe I'd open it just to see if there was any real remorse. But I already knew what it said. People like her never apologize for the hurt they cause, only for the consequences they didn't expect. And in this case, the consequence was losing me. Greece turned into Portugal. Portugal turned into Morocco. I started freelancing online, writing articles, consulting remotely, and discovered that freedom was addictive, not just the kind that comes with travel, but the emotional kind, the kind that grows when you stop begging someone to love you right. 6 months after the non-wedding, I met someone. Her name was Amelia. We met in a hostel courtyard in Lisbon. She wasn't trying to be impressive. She didn't overpromise. She didn't wear the mask of someone pretending to be whole. She was just real. She told me on the second night that she'd been hurt before. I told her the same. But neither of us looked away. There were no vows, no grand declarations, just long walks, inside jokes, and the kind of quiet connection I once thought only existed in books. She knew my past. She didn't flinch. She simply said, "You didn't lose anything. You dodged something." And I believed her. I never told my ex where I went. She eventually stopped trying to reach out. I saw, through mutual friends, that she and her ex didn't last long after our breakup. A few months, maybe. I guess they weren't meant to be either. Just two people dancing in a loop they didn't know how to break. And me? I'm living in a small town near the Amalfi Coast now. Emilia and I rent a tiny house with lemon trees out back. No wedding planned. No pressure. Just love that grows a little stronger with every quiet sunrise and every calm, honest day. Some wounds don't close quickly. They leave faint scars you only feel on certain days, like when you hear a certain song or catch a glimpse of someone who looks like the person you used to know. But healing isn't always loud. It's not always revenge or triumph or some cinematic twist. Sometimes it's just peace, hard-earned, quietly claimed, and deeply, finally yours. There was a time when I thought closure needed confrontation, that I had to stand across from the person who hurt me and demand an explanation, some kind of reckoning. But the further I've moved from that chapter, the more I've realized peace doesn't need permission. One evening, nearly a year to the day after the canceled wedding, I got a message from an old friend. He was at a party back in my hometown and said he'd run into my ex. Apparently, she asked about me, wanted to know if I was happy, if I had moved on. I told him he could say this. He didn't just move on. He moved up. Life now isn't some fairy tale. There's still bad days, long silences, bills to pay, things I don't always understand about myself or the people I love. But there's honesty in it, and that's everything. Emilia and I sit on the roof sometimes after dinner, feet hanging over the edge, wine glasses in hand, the sea wind brushing against our faces like a soft reminder that we're still here, still breathing, still choosing one another. One night, she asked me if I regretted almost getting married. I thought about it for a while. Then I said, "No, I only regret not walking away sooner." She nodded, understanding in that quiet way she always does, and leaned her head against my shoulder. The wedding that never happened used to feel like a loss. Now I see it as a gift, an unexpected invitation to rewrite my life, one painful but necessary step at a time. And if there's anything I've learned from all of this, it's this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't a grand gesture or a public spectacle. Sometimes it's simply building a life so full of joy, trust, and quiet love that the past can no longer echo in it. And when you do that, when you walk away not just physically but emotionally, spiritually, fully, you don't just survive. You win. Silently. Completely. Unapologetically. It's funny. People always think closure is this big moment. Like it has to be a face-to-face, some dramatic final conversation, a cinematic last word. But for me, closure came on a regular Tuesday. I was in a local cafe in Positano, working on a piece for a travel magazine. The sun filtered into the windows, and the smell of espresso and citrus filled the room. Emilia had just texted me a picture of a stray kitten that had followed her home. Nothing special, just a small, ordinary joy. And it hit me. I hadn't thought about her, my ex, in months. Not because I tried to forget, but because life had become so full of better things. No more wondering what I could have done differently. No more replaying conversations. No more bitterness. Just space. Air. Lightness. Like the final box had been unpacked from the attic of my chest. That's what real closure looks like. Not a door slammed shut. Just a door you stop looking at entirely. Months later, Emilia and I adopted that kitten. We named him Figaro. He likes to sit on the windowsill and watch boats go by. We joke he's the real landlord of the house. One rainy afternoon, while Emilia was painting and I was editing an article, she asked something unexpected. Do you ever think you want to try again? You know, a wedding? I paused, not because I was afraid, but because the question didn't come with pressure. It came with possibility, a calm kind of curiosity, the kind that comes when love isn't performance, but a partnership. I looked at her, paint on her cheek, hair in a loose bun, Figaro purring at her feet, and I said, maybe someday, if it's with the right person. She smiled and went back to her canvas. No need to rush. No need to prove anything. I used to think heartbreak was the end of everything. Now I know it's just the start of something truer. And as strange as it sounds, I'm grateful to the woman who ghosted me 2 weeks before our wedding. Because in doing so, she saved me from a lifetime of compromise, of second guessing. She gave me the chance to choose something better. Someone better. Myself first. And then Emilia. So if you ever find yourself standing in the ruins of what you thought your life was supposed to be, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't scream. Just pause. Breathe. And when you're ready, make your plan. Make it quiet. And walk. No. Rise. Into the life that was waiting for you all along. Somewhere, out there, she probably still tells the story differently. Maybe I was cold. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe, in her version, she was confused and the night with her ex was a mistake. That's the thing about stories. Everyone's a hero in their own. But me? I stopped needing to be the hero. I just wanted to be free. And now I am. The wedding never happened, but the life did. One built slowly, intentionally, like a song with no chorus, just steady verses that grow softer and sweeter with time. A life where love doesn't vanish when things get hard. A life where I don't have to wonder who she's texting when she smiles at her phone. The other day, Emilia caught me staring at her while she read on the couch. She looked up and said, "What?" I smiled. "Nothing," I said. "Just glad it was you." Because in the end, she ghosted me to party with her past. And I walked quietly into my future. Best plot twist of all? I never even needed revenge. I just needed one good reason to never go back. And now, I have every reason to keep going forward.